Hey, Stolen Cousins. Oh, one moment. There we go. Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all see that weird person in the back? Yup. Some horror animated. Like the video, comment on the video. What day is it? What day is it to you watching this video? Do you have a blanket that you get when you watch this video with me? Do you have a blunt that you can get when you watch videos with me? Do you have a beverage so you know your throat don't get dry communicating with me? Do you have a lot? Comment what you have and what you don't have. We ain't judging. So let's get right into it. Some SSG animations, and it is 3 waxing scary stories. So I have not been to a waxing place yet, but I have all the waxing stuff here. I'm going to be doing a video very soon on my couples page that is tagged underneath all of my videos. Yeah, we are going to be waxing my legs, arms, armpits. Ugh. So stay tuned for that. on the other note, let's get into this video. What's it about to say?
You might have seen in movies or TV shows that superheroes have superpowers. I too have a superpower, but my superpower is much more sinister than you could possibly imagine. Let's go a few decades back to when it all started. I must not have been a day over 5 years old when a woman came to visit us. When I was a child, I lived in a small house with my mom and dad. When I saw the woman sitting and chatting with my mom in the drawing room, I walked directly to her for a few seconds, and then suddenly out of nowhere I blurted out, "You're gonna die soon!"
Oh no, no thank you.
The woman responded by laughing because she thought I was joking. My mother was horrified when she heard how impolitely I spoke to her guest.
Very impolite.
That was the first time I was grounded. A week later, the
laughed.
woman passed away from a heart attack.
Oh, nah.
So if you have guessed by now, you're probably correct. I can tell when someone is about to die. As the years passed, I developed the ability to know the details of a person's death up to the last minute. At first, I would only get a weird feeling when I saw a person who was about to die. But as I grew older and began to understand the world better, my powers began to grow stronger. Now, I can tell the date, time, and how a person will die. No one but my mom knows about this superpower. At the age of 25, I worked in a salon as a hairdresser. Every week, I worked with hundreds of customers. Sometimes, I would sense that some of those customers were going to die soon.
Don't even tell
But I
them.
never told anyone about their impending death.
Good, that's none of your business.
However, one day a teenage girl came into the salon and she looked depressed. She was just sitting in a corner with her long, waist-length hair hanging in front of her face. It didn't look like she had an appointment, and none of the other staff members seemed to notice her except me. While I was working with a client,
Not you
I
seeing dead
noticed
people
the
too?
girl staring at me when I looked into the vanity mirror. Whatever I did, she continued to stare at me, her sunken, almost crimson eyes following me everywhere. At last, I became impatient and walked up to the girl. "What do you want, miss? What are you in the salon for? Do you
Someone's about to
have
be
an
like,
appointment?"
Who are you talking to?
She didn't move an inch, her still eyes boring holes in my face. "Why did you not tell me?" "Excuse me? Tell you what, miss?" "That I was gonna die that day. You see people's death, don't you? You saw mine, too," she said, and then gave me a creepy smile while her eyes still had that sad, haunting look. Her accusation shocked me. I stumbled away from her. The salon was still jam-packed with clients and staff members, but no one seemed to notice me. Even the woman whose hair I was dyeing continued to read her magazine. How do you know this?
After you die, you get to know everything,
was her reply. What do you mean after you die? Are you dead? I wasn't ready to believe that this was a spirit, let alone a ghost. Knowing people's death was one thing, but interacting with a ghost in a salon was completely different.
That's how it works when you go in the dark. You still white or black in the dark.
I'm dead, but I didn't have to be. If you had the courtesy of telling me I was gonna die, I could have saved myself.
How?
I was too young to leave so soon. I had my whole life in front of me.
Obviously, you did not.
Neither did you ever help anyone whose death you knew was coming. Why did you do that?
She asked me, to which I had no reply. I always thought of my superpower as a burden, an unwanted gift, but I never thought of the fact that I could save people's life if I told them about their deaths, just like I did with the lady when I was 5.
Don't do it at the hair salon.
But before I could react, the ghost girl sitting in front of me picked up a pair of sharp scissors and stabbed me in the neck.
Oh!
Blood started gushing out of my neck. Everyone around me broke out of their apparent trance and finally noticed me.
Are you being stabbed by yourself, or are you
when
stabbing
I looked
yourself?
in the mirror in front of me, there was no girl. It was me who had stabbed me in the neck using a pair of sharp scissors.
Exactly.
To the person watching the scene, it might have seemed like I had committed suicide in the middle of the salon. But as I collapsed on the floor, I knew that it was all caused by the ghost girl who acted out her revenge upon me.
Oh.
I watched myself in the mirror gasping for air and choking on my blood as I eventually died.
Oh.
Hey! Margaret! What happened to you? Why the hell are you staring in the mirror like that? Are you okay? Your client is waiting for you. Go help her. That was Jasmine,
the girl.
Another hairdresser who worked in the salon with me. That's when I realized I wasn't dead yet. But what I had just experienced was the intimation of my own doom. My death was today, and it would happen any second now.
Ooh.
That's when the main entrance bell rang, indicating someone just had entered the salon.
Get up out of there.
It was the girl from my vision.
Don't even look at her.
The ghost girl who killed me. I knew I was gonna die. So, I ripped my apron, tore my rubber gloves, grabbed my purse, and left the salon before the girl could even notice me. As I exited the salon, I saw the girl sitting in the same spot as I had seen in my vision. I don't know what I should do, and I'm not sure whether I had skipped my own death or not. But if this plan works out, this means the girl was right. If I tell people about their death, maybe they can escape it.
They will think you're crazy, but they
Perhaps
still might listen.
They can live a long life just like the girl wanted to live. Maybe I was a coward all along. Maybe I should have helped others rather than leave them to their own demise.
I mean,
if this plan of mine works and I miss my death, I promise myself that I won't be a coward anymore and will help people escape their death.
But is it cowardly,
right now,
or is it,
I must focus on getting home safely.
Not
what do you think?
Being sent to a mental institution.
Will I make it?
I don't know, sis.
Or will death find another way to catch up with me?
That's how I feel. I feel like if you skip out on death one time, he's definitely going to find a way back.
Have you ever been swayed by other people's opinions? I mean, have you ever judged someone without knowing them? Just because someone else had a bad opinion?
No.
Before you answer me, let me tell you my story. My name is Angela.
I already answered.
And believe it or not, my answer to this simple question almost cost me my life. It all started when I was desperately looking for a wax salon. The place I normally went to had taken a vacation, and I couldn't wait for them to come back. as I had a date in a few days.
I was about to say, couldn't or just didn't want to?
My body. I had never been up for it and didn't trust my mom either. So I went to the only wax salon in my house. All my friends had been there at some point in their lives, and they all told me the same thing. Beware of the man with no eyebrows. They all told me that their experience with this man was terrible. Not that he hurt them, harassed them, or said anything out of line. Not at all. In fact, he was very professional. What bothered all my friends was the obsession with which he wanted to pull out all the hairs. He seemed to hate them. There are rumors that say he doesn't have any hair, that he pulled them all out and had surgery so they would never grow back. Others say that he is not even human, that he was a being from another planet who wanted to impersonate one of us, but he couldn't grow hair on his costume, and that's why he hated them. Me? I honestly didn't believe any of those rumors. I found one more ridiculous than the other. Maybe it was that they were uncomfortable having a man attend to them, which is more common than they think. Whatever the reason for their exaggeration, I went to the store and asked to be serviced.
And you asked for the man,
that night, I came home late from work, and the store was closing. But I knocked on the door and asked if I could be serviced, and they graciously let me in. The man who was serving me was bald, and I automatically recognized him as the man I had been warned about. He seemed like a calm person, maybe a little disoriented, but overall, he didn't strike me as the monster that all my friends seemed to warn me about. Besides, I couldn't criticize him. The man was staying after hours to see me. He didn't even know me. He didn't even have an appointment, and kind gestures like this hardly exist anymore. The man made me lie down on the bed and started waxing my leg. Obviously, it hurt, but not as much as in other places. For a moment, I understood what my friends were referring to. His face seemed to be totally focused on the hair on my legs. The man didn't see me. It was as if I didn't exist for him. He only cared about doing his job well. I admit that this may seem strange, but was it really a bad thing? I was paying him to work, not to be my friend. I lay on the bed relaxed and just waited for the man to finish his work. Suddenly, a strange feeling ran through my body in a place I didn't expect. I raised my head, and to my surprise, I had wax on my feet. I asked the man what he was doing, and almost ignoring me, he replied that my feet also had hair on them, only that they were more imperceptible. I decided to listen to him, although I admit that this time I was uncomfortable with him putting wax on my feet without my permission. Unfortunately, this was only the beginning. Without warning, the man began to put wax on my face. Automatically, I stood up, upset. This is not what I had asked him to do. But before I could say anything to him, he grabbed my head violently and sank it back on the bed.
I hate hair. You will not leave here until you don't have any hair left. Do you understand me?
This man was not joking. His face had turned red. Fury had covered his whole body from one second to the next. It was as if the fact of revealing myself to him had awakened something in him. Something that was not going to stop until he fulfilled his promise, even if it was something as illogical as pulling all the hair out of my face. Already much more upset than a few seconds before, the man pulled all the boiling wax off of my face. My first and only reaction was to scream in pain. This man was a beast. My face was all sore. And it burned so much that I could feel it was on fire. After that, I knew he had pulled out all my hair, including my eyebrow hairs. I took advantage of his frantic but happy look to get out of bed. All of this had been for coming so late. I had given him the chance to play with me without anyone seeing him. Luckily, it was all over. I stood up with a lot of energy and cried. I tried to leave the waxing salon, but the man had other plans. With great violence, he threw me against the wall and told me that we were not finished yet. There was still one more place with hair. I asked him which place, crying, and with a devilish smile, he said a sentence that terrified me.
You've got hair on your tongue.
Oh, how no.
What? That's ridiculous. That myth is false. I study medicine and there is no such things as hairs on the... Without letting me finish speaking, the man interrupted me by putting one hand on my neck.
So you let him rip your hair and eyebrows out.
He grabbed boiling wax and put it inside my mouth all over my tongue. I did my best not to swallow anything, but I was afraid that something would come down my throat. What the man hadn't realized was that my friend's warnings hadn't gone completely unnoticed, and that after he had attacked me, he had thrown me on top of my purse. Quickly, I used my hand to pull pepper spray out of my purse and sprayed it in his face, immobilizing him.
How long have you had
to the exit door? There was my freedom.
You're
but
bald
the man anticipated
and no eyebrows, and you're using
the door was locked. With the boiling wax in hand, the man threw himself at me and pinned me against the door, choking me again. He could barely see me. His eyes were almost closed from the pepper spray I had just sprayed on him.
All this for not listening.
How did this man endure so much pain? Even though he had a lot of resistance, the pepper spray incident distracted him. So with a kick to the wax, it flew up in his face.
Good. Now y'all both burning.
I rammed him, and although I barely managed to knock him down, the man was in a lot of pain. I admit that at that moment I could have grabbed the keys and left, but this situation had made me furious. I wanted to teach this person a lesson, because if the victim was not me, it could have been someone else. I walked over to the table and grabbed even more boiling wax and threw it in his face. The man was getting severe burns on his face, but I didn't care.
You didn't care about
I
your
just
face?
grabbed the keys, got out, and went to the nearest hospital. Soon after, I found out that this man had survived, but his face had been ruined forever.
Good.
After that, my tongue was saved, and I decided I was going to use it. I told everyone in the media what happened, and before I knew it, everyone knew my story. This man would not hurt anyone else, not while I was alive. After that day, I still don't judge people by what other people tell me, but I must
obviously
admit
something like that,
every time
it's something that you should
me
listen.
Something about someone else, a small part of me wonders if they are right.
Hi, I'm Gracie, and I was a new and upcoming esthetician when this happened. I specialized at hair removal of the waxing kind. After getting my license, I was hired at a high-end salon that did all kinds of wax jobs, including Brazilian wax. For those who don't know what it is, to put it delicately, it's waxing your groin and around your anus. I had done Brazilian waxes in school, so I was used to it by the time I entered the industry. It was usually a pretty hygienic procedure, and I loved my job until I was violated by one of the male clients. And now, I want nothing more than to leave this entire industry behind me.
What's in your
Most of the time, we had females coming in for Brazilian waxes. But we started getting men coming too, mostly the bodybuilder type. They would get their doodleberries to their back door waxed. There was a particular Latino gentleman, a bodybuilder named Rodrigo, that came in regularly. He was a bit of a womanizer. He made it a point to come in twice a week and see a different esthetician every time. The majority of us were female, so he was spending a lot of money on this place. I had him a couple of times, and despite a few cheesy pickup lines, he was nice, allowed me to do my job, and even tipped well. But one day, my co-workers started making complaints about him. My work bestie, Christy, was his second victim.
Ugh! Sherry, you have to red chart Rodrigo. He grabbed my ass and laughed about it, saying fair is fair.
I can't just ban a steady client. Maybe it was an accident. I'll put him on Gracie's schedule next week. I looked over at Sherry with shock on my face.
I think you're just going to volunteer her to get sexually assaulted.
I don't want him.
Look, if he makes you uncomfortable, just cancel the session and I'll deal with it.
So why don't you just deal with it to begin with?
His name was typed into my schedule on the computer, and I sighed, hoping him exposing himself and laughing was just a fluke. The week went by and work was so great, I nearly forgot about it. Until Monday when it was time for him to come in.
Good luck, Gracie. Thanks, Christy.
Don't need that.
Lord knew I was going to need it. I walked up to the waiting room and called Rodrigo back. He stood up looking more swole than usual.
Hey, gorgeous.
He smiled as he walked up to me. And I just simply smiled awkwardly and took him back to the room. Usually, when I take a client back, I tell them to take off their underwear and lay down on the table. The rule is that whatever isn't getting waxed is covered. Rodrigo didn't even wait for me to leave before he began stripping. I just walked out of the room without saying anything. I grabbed some gloves and sanitation supplies and knocked on the door.
Come in.
I heard Rodrigo's voice giggling on the other side of the door. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath and stepped inside. Thankfully, he was in the proper position to get his back door waxed. He was acting particularly perverted that day. I took some sanitary wipes and began cleaning him, poured the hot wax into the designated area, and laid the parchment paper on top of it. Rodrigo kept giggling, and I couldn't take it anymore. My tone was short and snarky.
Is there a problem?
No.
Over him laughing?
Mind telling me what's so damn funny?
Nothing. I apologize. I'm on this new medication, and it gives me the giggles.
I was saying, damn, I can't
shook my head and grabbed the parchment paper.
Okay, I'm going to pull now. 1, 2, 3.
I pulled the paper on 3, and brown liquid came shooting out all over me.
Oh, no way!
Ew.
On my face, in my hair, on my clothes, and on the table.
Oh, that's nasty!
I looked at him as my blood began to boil.
Kill him!
I watched
he just shit it
while
all over
brown
you.
liquid continued to extract from him, and it made me sick to my stomach.
Oh!
I was in complete and utter shock. I mean, he was cackling in his own mess of poop. He then stood up, and his whole demeanor changed.
You just made me shit myself. What the hell is wrong with you?
I still couldn't speak or move. I was fighting the urge to vomit. He came up to me and grabbed me, slamming my head onto the table, right into his poo water.
You should clean this up.
He began to rub my face in it. He took my hair and began to mop up what he could with it. He then lifted my face off the table and looked into my eyes.
Damn it, now you're all dirty. I'm sorry. Let me make this better.
What?
He grabbed a sanitation wipe and dabbed at my face. I couldn't hold it anymore.
You threw up? Yep.
And I vomited all over his face. I could feel the rage pumping through him as he gripped me. He balled a fist and full-on punched me in the face.
Oh!
You disgusting bitch. First you make me shit myself. Now you're puking all over me. What's wrong with you?
Like a godsend, Sherry and Christy came bursting into the room.
I was just about to say, where the hell are they?
Oh my God! Gracie! I honestly can't remember anything after that. I think I just checked out. I remember getting a shower at the salon and going home. I later found out Rodrigo had been arrested. Turns out he was on steroids, and it had been a recent thing he'd been dabbling in, which explains his sudden erratic behavior. Sherry finally red-charted him so he won't be coming to the salon ever again. I can't bring myself to come back to work.
Shit it all over?
Christy tells me that they can't get the smell of poop out of the room and doesn't blame me if I never come back.
Good.
Doing Brazilian waxes has been ruined for me. I'll never be able to do one again without picturing that honey mustard fountain.
We don't need to hear it. It's only 2 seconds left, y'all. We don't need to hear no more of that. I am shocked. She just got shitted on, y'all. Poop everywhere. I don't know how I thought this was gonna go, but not a shitty butt. Shitty steroids, man. Oh, that's crazy. Comment how shocked you were. Comment if you threw up. That's nasty as all ever. Thank you guys for watching these videos with me. Don't forget to comment. Oh my God. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And share this with someone if you want to gross them out.